Well, that's what problem. There's Kate last. Yeah, yeah, she looks different now. Wasn't that she looks different? Yeah.
All right. Order the Porterville School Board meeting for October 20th. First order of business, pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item 2 is our mission statement. Jennifer, do you want to read that?
Our mission is to graduate all students with levels of academic and personal achievement, ready for post-secondary excellence, prepared with productive, compassionate citizenship, through research-based instruction and a collaborative system of support.
Thank you. 2.0 changes or additions to the agenda. Anything today, Jim?
We do. We have additions. We have a student presentation to our high school leadership. To give your update on the high school.
We're adding that to.
Let's just make it 2.5.
And it was Caitlin, you said?
Yeah.
All right. All right, item 2.5, Caitlin, take it away.
Hey, my name's Caitlin, I'm a senior in high school. I'm the ASB vice president, so I'm gonna let you know the leadership's been up to. We had a pretty busy week last week, it's Spirit Week, so we did different dress up days to get students involved, and we did a raffle drawing. So each student that dressed up got a raffle ticket, and then we did Dutch Bros gift cards for that. So I we got about a third of each class to participate, which is pretty good for us. So it was fun. Then we had the pep assembly on Friday. We recognized all the sports teams and the homecoming court. Then the cheer team performed with the band, so it was good. We played some games, to get people hyped up for the game on Friday, which was really fun. We did the float parade. This year we did Pixar movie themes for the folks. The seniors won. Our float was up. It was really fun. And then we had the homecoming court parade as well. So Allison Wright and Hunter Lardy won King and Queen. So that was good. But it was like a ginormous student section, bigger than all year. And we won the game. So that was fun. And then on Saturday we had the dance. It was Mamma Mia themed. We had about 270 people attend. So it was really crowded. And then one of our students, Spencer Smith, DJ'd. So that was kind of fun. So now that we've finally finished up with homecoming, we're looking forward to our winter formal in December. We also decorate the commons for the holidays, so we're gonna be planning that soon. But in the next couple of months, we've been just looking at leadership goals in class. So a couple of weeks ago, we looked at our first week advisory data, because we took a survey during our advisory period. The survey was mainly about like what we wanted to improve about the school. So we had a couple concerns that we wanted to address and help like make some agenda items for. So our first one was retention in high school sports. There was some concern in the student body that most students don't continue their sports after middle school. So we don't have any JV teams for the majority of our sports, and that was a concern. So we're thinking about bridging the gap between high school and middle school athletics to help keep people in the sports that they enjoy. Second, and I think the biggest one right now is making space for students with free periods. Currently, the only place we can go is the library, or we can seek in the commons if Stearns doesn't kick us out. But maybe the library, and a lot of kids don't go in there. There's an animosity with the librarian and the library space. Kids usually just leave campus. We're trying to keep them on campus for the most part. But we visits to our activities during lunch. Kids do during lunch. The church is only doing lunch every other week now, so every Thursday. There's less activities for kids to do. So we're thinking about making like utilizing the space we have for kids to hang out. We were thinking the space near Mr. Neal's room, like at the end of the hallway. We get like couches or something for kids to stay there. and help keep them on campus out of trouble. And we're thinking about like, bringing back games during lunch. We did ping pong and cornhole, that kind of stuff, a couple years ago, but with the colder months, it's kind of hard. So we have space actually in the building for people to be, that'd be good. So that's what we're concerned about right now. That's it.
Very cool, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions? You're free. And you're welcome to stick around if you want, if you need to get home, do homework or something.
Yeah.
All right, item 3.0 public forum. I'll give a quick update before I read through this stuff, for, the social media situation a month ago. Investigation is just wrapping up this week, we should have final report to the district next week, and then discuss further on what next steps are at that point, so that's where we are right now. So public forum, individuals who are on site during this portion of the board meeting, members of public are specifically invited to present items of commendation or concerns. At the discretion of the board chair, further public participation may be allowed. At times, specific agenda items are under consideration by the board. Anyone viewing online, Pleasant Hill School District posts the upcoming agenda on our website the Friday before the regularly scheduled Monday school board meetings. This will allow for public comment prior to the meetings. Please click on the tab provided to share your comments for the school board to consider at the upcoming meeting. In general, personnel matters may not be discussed in public at a school board meeting. Members of the public who have personnel concerns or commendations should share directly with the district superintendent. And I've got, first person up would be Kaylin Thomas.
Hello, I'm Kaylin Thomas. I'm the Title I teacher at elementary and also a parent and community member. I was reading through the board packet tonight and the trends reported by ODE, and something stood out to me. I was recently thinking about our 4th and 5th graders and how many of them are meeting oral reading fluency benchmarks for their grade level, starting this school year according to STAR data, which is our new assessment system. I've in fact noted this to teachers that I don't think I've ever seen oral reading fluency data look so good. I've been in Title I since COVID, so it's been quite a few years now. The 5th years now, I started with the 2nd learners. These are students currently who were served K2 under my direction and 3rd through 5th grade under the direction of Ms. Wolke. With the model, we had 2 certified teachers in partnership with classroom teachers were able to meet the needs of our intervention students in an unprecedented way, in not only reading, but math and writing as well. We were told last year our model needed to change, specifically because other schools weren't doing it that way. Instead, we've doubled my caseload now and cut intervention time in half for many of our students who need the most help. In addition, we've reallocated FTE for a position that doesn't include working directly with students needing intervention support. Reading the board packet tonight, I find it interesting that ODE had similar findings as my own. In fact, with quote, the significant gains in literacy, math, and science, they suggest we quote, sustain elementary literacy and math strategies showing impact. My question for the board is how we do that is we completely dismantle the systems teachers have worked so hard on implementing since COVID. And the loss of a teaching position working directly with the students who need it most. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn. Next is Deanna.
Hi, my name is Deanna Helby. I am a prior student of Pleasant Hill High School and elementary school and so on. I'm currently a substitute educational assistant for both Pleasant Hill Elementary and high school. I work very closely with the students and I really enjoy interacting with this community in this way. I think that given recent events, it's important to point out the effect that it has taken on our community and especially on our kids. Because I've noticed a trend among the youth in our community where because adults are acting differently than how is traditionally accepted, they have also decided that it's okay to act the same as the adults. They're reflecting those actions. And it's unfair to them. For example, I'm aware of a variety of new student drivers in the high school. Many of which are not respecting the Oregon state law that after you receive your driver's license, you have to wait 6 months before you can drive your friends around. This is a problem that has happened since the law existed, but it is significant enough that even employees are now noticing this. When we portray negative actions, our kids notice. They watch us and they reflect accordingly. Thank you.
You. And then last one, we have Dustin.
Hi folks, my name is Dustin Helge, I'm a community member, my kids went to this school. You saw me here last time. I appreciate the update, although it's not much of an update, right, but I appreciate that, you know, trying to keep us in the loop. This is just me saying the issue hasn't changed, the investigation, we realize this all takes time. But we're here, we're not going anywhere, and our kids are watching. Our kids are the ones that are really gonna pay the price if we don't do the right thing. Not us. You know, right? Our kids are learning right from wrong right now, they're watching what's happening. I was here 2 weeks ago, or 2 meetings ago, I was here last meeting, I'm here this meeting, I will be here next meeting, until such time as we see resolution.
Thank you, Dustin. The board doesn't comment on public comment, but thank you all for sharing today. I took notes and that does make a difference, so. As we go on to 4.0 action item, 4.1, approval of October 6th board meeting minutes. Does anybody have any questions on those meeting minutes? No. Right, all your motions. You'll approve the board minutes of October 6th, 2025.
Second.
Move it seconded, there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. 4.2, accept first quarter enrollment report. Any comments on that or anything, Jim?
No, just as we expected, it's across the county and state where we've just got declining enrollment happening. Primarily, you can see if you look at the kindergarten classes where they're coming in smaller and smaller. People have fewer children, and then also having them later in life after getting married as well. Our total right now is at the numbers before was 955, which is really close to what we projected for this year.
Any other questions? Motions,
Move to approve the first quarter enrollment report.
Second.
moved and seconded, no further comment, all those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. 4.3, approve the first read of policy JOA, directory information.
The background of this is the Board of Education, State Board of Education made changes to the rules regarding directory information and student permanent records, and the update reflects these changes. This is a required board policy. The October 6th board meeting, we had a chance to review this policy. Those changes, didn't have a change to it, but they are reflected in the attachments. Essentially, there's quite a few changes in terms of what is seen now as directory information. And so, whereas there was, say, 13 in the previous policy, in this policy, it was students' names, students' photograph. Their major field of study, participation in officially recognized activities and sports, with the height of athletic activity, dates of attendance, and the produced awards received. So it cut it down to just about half. So directing the board of directors review and approve as a first read the policy JOA directory information following required review and public comment critical.
Any questions from anyone on that policy? Fire motion.
Move to approve first read of policy JOA information.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, all those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. 4.4, approve first read of policy LBEA. Time to now for virtual public charter school student enrollment.
So here, this is another State Board of Education change to the OAR on the process for parents to provide notice about enrolling a student in virtual public charter school and the district's response. So the changes are reflected in the policy that you have. And this is a conditionally required policy. We reviewed this policy at the October 6th meeting. Essentially what this does is talks about the denial process. There's a couple of dates, October 1st and April 1st would be the time which the districts would semi-annually calculate the percentage of students residing in the district or attending a virtual public charter school. And the calculated percentage is more than 18%, the district will not approve students' enrollment to such a virtual charter school. So it's essentially putting that 3% into play. And it outlines the process for notifying parents when it's not approved because of the 3% threshold. So it's recommended the board of directors review and approve as a first read policy of the EA and virtual public charter school student enrollment.
Do you know what our percentage is at right now?
I'll give you a general ballpark. Yeah, we're over roughly. We're roughly about 4%.
So this is saying that it's over 3%, then the district just won't allow it at all. Do requests.
So yeah, it would be will not allow it.
What was the language, this part of the language changed this time, or did it say before I talked about the?
Before it was not about the denial, the 3% has always been in the law, it's not in the policy, so the policies have updated. Essentially, this is one of the policies that are coming through administrative rules to put strength and teeth into the 3% for districts regarding the virtual charter school and the ability to deny. The 3% has been there for quite some time.
3% is a law? Or
It has been in the, I don't know if it's in the statute or administrative rules, but it has been quite some time. It is not reflected in the policy.
oh, gotcha. Any other questions? All right. Call for motions.
Move to approve the first read of policy LBEA.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. 4.5, approve first read of policy DEA, budget committee.
So another Department of Education change to the administrative rules, regulations. This one is specific to statute around the equity committee, and the equity committee, part of that was a requirement of at least one equity committee member serve on the budget committee. So this is an update to the budget committee policy. It just says one equity committee member will serve on the budget committee. It's a pretty easy change. We reviewed this policy at the October 6th meeting, and it's just recommended just the board of directors review and approve as a first reading.
I asked this before, I can't remember what we said. What if nobody wants to?
Then we go with that position. And we have to make it to the great over, you can find somebody to do it, but if none of the budget committee or equity committee, it's not set up to do it, then we have to vacancy.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk here or not. Can you tell me, what is the definition of an equity budget committee member?
Yeah, so there's two, so the budget committee is, so the board is on the budget committee, and then some community members, parents, we have, I think, 5 positions, or is it, what is the total now? Is it still?
Still fine.
Still five community members, one of which has to be from the equity committee now, and the equity committee,
So you also have an equity committee.
correct, they're two separate things.
Gotcha.
The equity committee knew this year from the state required that we have it, and so it's a group of parents, teachers, community members, students who review different parts of the school, make sure that it's equitable for students.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Anyone on this one? Right, I'll hear motions.
Approve first read policy PDA.
Then, seconded, all those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. First read of policy, or 4.6, approve first read of policy IKF, graduation requirements.
All right, so this is around House Bill 4137, which is in 2024, which creates towards graduation of students who complete international baccalaureate programs. The update also adds extended diploma information back to the notification requirements. So essentially, you'll see this. We do not have an IB, International Board of Baccalaureate Programs on page 3. A lot of that is taken out. Modified diploma still exists in this. If we go to the fifth page of that, the essential skills are starting to come back. This what basically states that the district will allow English language learner students to demonstrate proficiency in essential skills. And then under the essential skills appeal, it has as follows, board policy KL, the appeal process. But very few changes in this policy that affect us directly. As such, it's recommend the board of directors approve as a first read policy at KL.
Questions from anyone? No. All right, you're all motions. First read policy IKF.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Last one, 4.7, accept Blaine ESD transit dollar request 2026-27.
Yeah, so each year we've done 2 years and asked for permission to transit dollar requests. And it will be for 26-27. So last year at this time, we've been moving for this current school year. Essentially it has to do with an amended bill in 2013. That the request for the transit dollars will be distributed on an ADMW weighted basis. The state statute requires that the Pomona School District Board submit the request to the ESD Board no later than November 1st. We always ask that no more than 50% or not to exceed 50%. A lot of these dollars will come back to us. We utilize for special education services, program services, so programs that are outside of our school district that will send students out for placement. We need to utilize the transit dollars for special education programs. Again, we're anticipating the same thing for 26-27. So it's recommended the board of directors approve the ESD transit dollar request for the fiscal year 26-27. Specifically, it is recommended the board of directors request does not exceed 50% of the transit dollar pursuant to ORS 334.77.
Why would limit 50%?
Once we go over 50%, it changes,
So this speed.
yes, it changes the manner in which, we are partnered with NESD. As the consortium and the services that we receive from them.
More bonus and restrictive?
It is, yes. And so, for instance, if we want to take, all of that money from, then essentially we would not receive any services at all. Yeah.
Other questions? Other motions?
Move to accept Lane ESD transit dollar request fiscal year 2026-2027.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 5.0 reports and information, 5.1 elementary school report.
Hi,
Hello?
all right. Our attendance data for the year is really strong in September. Our average daily attendance is 95.66%. And then every single grade level is above 95%. So we started the year off really strong. I'm just trying to keep it there through all the winter months and the illness. So we do a monthly attendance competition between grade levels and including staff, and then we do the top class at each grade level. It's just really motivating kids, having activities that are engaging and having them have to come to school. Stephanie shared STAR assessment data with you at the last board meeting. The elementary school has done an amazing job of rolling this out. It has not been an easy task. It is a very heavy lift to change assessment systems in one of this magnitude. And the staff have taken it and run with it. Feedback from staff has been positive, especially feasibility of assessments and the quickness of results. The CAT, or computer adaptive test, has been something that all teachers have administered in their classroom. We're also seeing teachers a lot more involved in the progress monitoring component of the assessments, because the ability to do the 1 minute reading timeliness on the computer is very quick, and it gives us the information right away. We've had some PD. We are implementing Learning Low and Freckle, which are both literacy and math components that come with the STAR Renaissance suite that are at students' individual levels based on their assessments. We are at a point where we're kind of just figuring out what is the most beneficial and useful information to share with families at conferences. It gives us a lot of information, and how do we give them the best information in the most presentable way at their teacher conferences next week. And Stephanie has been an amazing support in rolling out this program. She'll find information that we ask for, she'll write summaries, she'll dig into reports, she'll create anything that some teachers are asking for. She's available to support with this rollout. We had our jogathon on Friday, September 26th, and we raised $40,819. Insane. Our PTO is amazing, and our students are amazing for going out and getting all of those pledges. We do an award for the most pledges, and it was 62 pledges. One student got 62 people to donate. That is a large strength command. Pretty amazing. Upcoming events, we've got conferences next week. Monday, November 3rd is our Philly Spirit Assembly for third through fifth grade, honoring our students who are showing respectful behavior. And then Tuesday is the K through second grade Philly Spirit Assembly. Those are always fun to come to if you guys are available during the day. And then another event is PTO on November 12th. Those are always the events, and we've had a changeover in our PTO board, but it's been really exciting to see the new leadership and running the jogathon right away.
Excellent, thank you. Questions? Anybody? All right, thank you, Brenda. 5.2 middle school report.
Hey. So continuing our progress towards our goals of academic equity and guaranteeing viable curriculum, our English language arts teachers have begun implementing the adopted English language arts curriculum. We had some training from Mirrors and Windows. Carnegie Publishing came out to get some initial professional development for our teachers in August. And then we've had ongoing support from TNTP, and as well as Stephanie, our instructional coach. In math, we're really excited. We're going to have Deidre Huff serve as a studio teacher in partnership with Lane ESD and Lane STEM. So we'll have folks from South Lane, Fern Ridge, and Junction City out to come and observe. And we're really going to look at observing, analyzing, and refining our math instruction. We'll have our first studio classroom where people will be in Deidre's room coming up in November. It's awesome because it's also fully funded through Lane STEM, so that's not a cost to us. Our science teachers just last week were able to start to work with the ESD to dive into claim evidence reasoning practices and actually have a whole year-long plan for professional development in partnership with ESD. In health, we are teaching our Great Body Shop curriculum, which we adopted, and we're having professional development publishers able to provide us in August. So that's off the ground. Star Reading and Star Math, did our universal screening in the fall. That one, we were able to get it done, thanks in large part to Stephanie and Cindy as well. That will guide classroom instruction as well as our targeted intervention, still looking at how we're supporting literacy in middle school. Today we have, if we look at just overall Fs, we have 106 in middle school, 37 in 6th grade, 38 in 7th grade, and 31 in 8th grade. So we're really looking at our data teams and our multi-tier systems of support to support students that are currently failing the classes. As far as athletics, we have 77 middle school students participating in fall sports, 34 in football, 23 in cross country, and 20 in volleyball. As we look at our attendance, so we're looking at our percentage of students that have 90% attendance or better at 6th grade, or 76%, 7th grade, 79%, 8th grade, 64%. Now we look at the average number of students attending year to date. We're currently at 93.94. We're really looking to continue our attendance supports, looking specifically at our tardies and our skipping, and then our overall regular attendance. Those students that are coming to school less than 90%. Next week, we're going to get student-led conferences going, so that'll be a shift for the middle school. We're really excited for student-led conferences and really having students owning their academic journey. We're really excited to invite parents in and have students deliver those student-led conferences to their parents and guardians.
Thank you. Any questions?
Has middle school always done the conferences side?
Nope. I don't know that we've ever done it that way.
This is a little bit in conjunction with the learner profile work that we did. One of the outcomes.
That's all. All right. Thanks, Caleb. 5.3 high school report.
Hey, so a couple things on the academic side. Alan's been doing a really good job of leading the professional development on our Fridays, and one of the things that the learner profile, you guys are familiar with that. What we have done is leaning into the strategic plan in the middle and high school, we're integrating the learner profile into our systems and routines. We rebooted our student of the month, where it's just kind of a spreadsheet where you nominate, and we're actually taking the traits from the learner profile, the Google format. It's just not just a most improved for a student of the month, but it's actually taking a look at the attributes and looking at resilience and some of the things that we can honor more students for. Not so much as, you know, I think some kids don't want the most improved type of a moniker that they get. So we're kind of just leaning into some of the traits that we want to see out of the students that we've been promoting, putting up in classrooms and trying to infuse that into our student of the month. So that those will start coming up, maybe rolling out next month. The other thing we're doing is we're taking the learner profile and we're trying to integrate those traits into the course outlines. So the goal is their first one of their first courses will be on November 17th. You get a chance to see what those course outlines look like and how they're implementing the learner profile into actual lessons and classes. And then we'll start off with the second one, kind of giving them the time to do that on those Friday early release days. We too did start testing at the high school. We have all our 10th graders have been tested, and now we're going to be working with the instructional coach Stephanie to disaggregate that data and start kind of putting a plan of action in those departments that are going to utilize that assessment. So I'll start having more statistics around that as we come up in the board reports. As far as our attendance, we've kind of put another, like I was trying to put emphasis on attendance, but Mr. Griffith, our student success coordinator, he's been doing an excellent job. We run a tardy list every week, and we identify the kids with far more tardies during the week, and they have a consequence for that. And same thing, we've actually taken those off period skippers, like the one that he runs a report every day that just says somebody who missed a class. And so we're kind of handling those kids that are just unused absence in class and making sure that, you know, where that word's getting out. Take a look at this time last year and this year, regular attenders last year at this time were 68%, and at this point this year we're at 75% regular attenders, and that's students with 90% or better attendance. So like we're just going to try to hang on to that and just keep building from that. Our average daily attendance is about the same as it was last year, 93.3 last year. We're at 94% our average daily attendance. Students with an F grade, I kind of broke that down by class and the number of students. So in 9th grade, we have 12 students who have amassed 24 Fs, In the 10th grade, we have 23 students who have amassed 29 Fs. 11th grade, 15 students with 17 Fs, and in 12th grade, 8 students with 11 Fs. So I'm almost trying to make a correlation, is it few students failing many classes, or is it many students failing one class? And there are a couple specific classes that are carrying a little bit larger F load right now based on projects, things like that. So we'll have touch base with those teachers and make sure are the grades up to date, are the projects turned in, and see if we can get those numbers to come down that way. One of the things that we did for the first time is we kind of tied academic performance to being able not to attend the homecoming dance, but we had a list, last week we had a list of the kids who were failing in each grade level. One person took each grade level. We met with the kids last week and kind of said, hey, this is where you're at, you know, you can get these things up. You know, we're gonna start tying this in with being able to go to dances and things like that. For the most part, most of the kids got things up. Then if they showed up at the dance and they didn't, they were still on the list that they had. They didn't get things taken care of. They got to spend about 15-20 minutes with Mr. Stearns in the counseling center, developing a plan and a goal. So it's kind of like they came to the dance, I got his attention at the same time. To have a conversation with Mr. Stearns on what we do, what are your barriers, what kind of things, to kind of have to get that lecture from Mr. Stearns on as to, you know, why grades are important and to enjoy the other things around high school. And our activity programs and I know that you heard Caitlin talk about just the number of kids. I think volleyball is the only sport that has a 7 varsity team. They have a JV2, you know, cross country, kind of individual, you know, you have your 5 runners. Girls and boys soccer both do not have a JV team, and football does not have a JV team or freshman team. So you take a look at our participation numbers across the board. In football, we have 33 kids out for football. In volleyball, we have 25, boys soccer 19, girls soccer 18, boys cross country 15. And girls cross country is 8. So, obviously, nice to get those participation numbers up. And it's interesting that there's that through the student surveys that they're trying to figure out how to reach the little bit of that. That's it's kind of interesting proposal for them. Curious to see what their plan is or how they're trying to drive that. Years off to a good start. I would say, generally speaking, it's not to a really good start. Some of the kind of in that playoff month long for sports, for soccer, football, and volleyball. All have great opportunities to make playoffs. The girls go to a high tomorrow in volleyball, and that kind of sets up at their 3rd place and 4th place in the league. 3rd place, they would host a Thursday game. 4th place, they would travel. I think it's behind them, so they're behind tonight, behind Wednesday, and they might have to go and get on like that, and that's for the right to go to the sisters and for the 1-2 seed. So, anyway, excellent. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions, anyone? All right. 5.5 superintendent, 01 accountability changes.
Shit, 5.4. Let's get Sheriff.
Oh, sorry. First 5.4, the first quarter financial report.
I'll go down mine first. All right, so as of September 30th, we received 2.9 million of our state school fund, but we are expecting 6.2 million more for a year's out. We received $133,000 from interest on investments, $113,000 in other revenue, which does include the $57,000 we were reimbursed for our from FEMA for our ice storm expenses when we got damage to the campus. Our general fund expenditures, salary expenditures through September is $744,000. Benefits for another $428,000. Purchase service and supplies are currently at $425,000. We have made transfers to our reserves of $2.3 million. And then in our quarterly reports, I've given you a general fund summary of the revenues and expenditures, income and encumbered expenses for the period from July 1 to September 30th. We have a cash and investments report showing that our current cash and investments total is 11.6 million. And then our reserve and special revenue funds are reported as to what income and expenses we've had so far this quarter. We will be having a financial audit on November 17th and 18th for the 24-25 school year. And that's about it, unless you have questions on the other reports. Anything else?
For those 113,000. Yep, 135 other revenue. I know we planned on the theme on that, typically in player folks here.
Well, no, those are things like, we get, money back from SAFE at the end of the year, we haven't had too many claims, so that'll be, I think that was about maybe 6,000 to that, so it's a conglomeration of a lot of small things, sub reimbursements, fingerprint revenue. We don't have any of our grants really coming in yet, that'll come a little bit later, sports fees is from that. And just a little bit of taxes, we just started to get this year's taxes.
Thanks, Sherry. All right, now 5.5. Can't really change it.
First document in front of you is changes from the state regarding accountability system changes. And some of the implications that go with that. And these are specific to, a lot of them specific to how it is that they are figuring the scores that you'll see that'll come out. So our at a glance summaries have not been released yet, or due to be released here in November, but some of the preliminary data though has been released. But for instance, the updated gap score calculations. In the past, we've been comparing them to a baseline from the 2018-2019 school year. They are now 3-year averages, and so you'll see that in the next report that I've prepared for you, showing 3-year trends. New graduation rate criteria for high schools as well. And always remember that the graduation rate is always a year behind. The date that you see this year is from the 23-24 school year, and we'll see 24-25 graduate data next year this time. But they'll be starting using the 4-year graduation rates as the 5-year completion rates as far as the accountability measures from the state. Multi-year data for indicators, so attendance, achievement, on-track measures now use 3 years of data, I just mentioned. The impact of that is it reduces the impact of a single atypical year, but will highlight ongoing low performance. And so while you might have seen if we're comparing something that's the 2018-2019 school year, and you're up or down based off that, that can be quite significant based on whatever your 2018-2019 school year was. So you may just see we're trying to do your average, a little more pattern of sort of what's actually happening over time. The CSI and TSI. So CSI is Comprehensive School and Improvement. We're not currently under CSI. We do have a TSI target right now, and that's targeted support for improvement. And so those are student groups that are flagged at the same level 1 or level 3 criteria met on 5 or more indicators. The indicators are interesting because we've got such small populations, so you have to have a sample size of at least 20 to be able to show for the minimum amount of students in that. But we've been on the TSI, the targeted support, for 2 years. I believe this is year 3. The targeted support. Something they've had in the past of bringing back, which is it would be the indicator the poverty group arrows are restored, and so it shows directional trends for students that are experiencing poverty. And then the participation rates adjustment. This is probably the biggest change besides the 3-year progress. And so assessment proficiency calculations now use the higher of 95% for both students, actual test participants. So as an example, if you've got 100 students and 80% of your students take the test, then they'll take the proficiency rate. Say the proficiency rate was 50%, and they'll divide it by that 80%, and that'll be the proficiency score.
Say that again.
If you're so the current way that this is done is it's done based on the amount of students who actually take the test.
They don't actually have to take the test,
They don't have to actually take the test. What they're, this, again, this is the governor's accountability bill that's been in place. What they're changing it to is independence of, if your participation is below 95%, they're gonna now choose 95% as that denominator. And so it's gonna be divided, which is by the 95%. We're supposed to be seeing when this happens, both calculations, so the calculation of how many kids actually took it from for us and how many, what the calculation would be for the 95% as well. We'll see some changes.
Probably not good.
No,
Yeah.
not good, yeah, much more reflective, yeah. It's the a lot of the accountability, so another one of the accountability measures is we'll have to provide interim assessments 3 times a year. What we're getting to is, rather than the state just saying, we're gonna make every student take the test and take the option of opting out away, force everyone to have to take the interim assessment, so we can actually get that data. And we're going to put in some accountability measures like rating you on the 95% threshold, but they want to see everyone have for participation. There's a number of things in the accountability bill that's really raising the bar with you're fine there, I guess. Versus just saying, we're gonna make everyone take the test. Yeah. So. Some of the changes we're seeing, and again, I think some of the frustration in doing this is we often, there's not very many years that we'll grow or we see the same sort of accountability. We often see these changes happen every 2 to 3 years, or if we have a change in environment. So you kind of have the target continues to kind of change. I think it's important for us just to focus really on the things that we're in control of, though. The state test definitely will show us how our systems are doing. I think if we go to the next report, this is some initial OSAS reporting that is coming out.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
The CSI and the TSI, are those the same supports that they were talking about with the? I think we talked about it in the spring, that would, after a certain number of years, would lead to needing the instructional, like it would be mandatory, or was the same supports of it?
Yes, as far as the accountability piece.
Yeah.
So if you see it for certain years, then the state comes in and starts.
Okay, respect.
Eventually, yeah. The targeted, essentially, it's probably not worded quite right. So when they say targeted support and improvement, there is no support. Essentially, where our sped population right now is the area which is flagged, and so we would write goals, and those goals are actually reflected in the integrated guidance plan as well. Objectives, the things that we're doing to actually improve outcomes for special education students. That goes to the state, it's approved at the state level, but there's nothing that comes with it. It comes with the technical support, the support is on us. When we get to the comprehensive side of things, is generally when we start to see some support. Goes to need that support done. So then the trends you're seeing here, so these are actually now looking at the changes based on the gaps going and how the state has identified accountability. So again, it's no longer compared a single year back to 2018-19, which was the base. We're now looking at these trends over a 3-year period and an average of 3-year period. And you guys should be reading. So this is English language arts and 3-year trend going back to 22-23. And the yellow is the call grades. And so you can see a trend line actually moving up just possible. Next page is around mathematics. Again, for elementary, the yellow line is simple trends. It's going up slightly. If you go to science, fewer trends. Nice steep angle there. So it started below 20% in 2023, and it's at 40% in 2025. For high school English language arts, all grades is blue, and you can see that we've actually started to starting to trend down a little bit from this last year. And this is grades 6, 7, 8, and 11. high school goes. Our mathematics trend, again, this is all grades, fairly flat, although we did trend up just slightly, between 23-24 and 24-25. And then high school, the green line is the all grades, it's relatively flat. So summary next steps as far as this is concerned is elementary success, significant gains in literacy, math, and science, particularly in grades 4 and 5. Secondary still poses concerns. We've got some volatility. You'll see me here on that at the high school levels. And then the science growth at grade 5 and 8, but relatively flat at grade 11. And it's just outlining next steps. Essentially, we stick with our strategic plan that we've got in place. So sustaining elementary literacy and math strategies, strengthen middle school core instruction and support to reduce volatility. Actually, we got to hear Mr. Solomon's report tonight as far as the work that we're doing around instructional coaching and our professional development, our curriculum, implement targeted interventions at high school, especially in ELA and math. Heard Mr. Hirschberg talk about the data implementation with STAR, and we work starting to work with instructional coach on those targeted interventions, and for the community, we're review this data and examine segment performance for some recommendations to join with what we're doing, basically kind of the same light that we do with the other ideas as well. In our guidelines should be released by November.
Question? I was at an economic development conference last week. And the presenter, a very compelling case, talked about one of the obstacles for Oregon is the education record. Last in the country, or maybe second or country, depending on which metric we use. And they knew I was on a school board, so I said, what are you guys doing about it? And I wasn't 100% sure how to answer that question. So I'm curious, from your perspective, is if you were to summarize what you just reported, the trends for Pleasant, what would you, I don't know if I see the data, but what would you, generally speaking, your summary of what is or isn't different here as it reflects to what the state is apparently, what people are saying?
What is or isn't different? I think there's definitely positive signs as far as what is taking place in the district. Or it is pretty reflective, I think, as far as the county is concerned as well. The difficulty of the metrics of all this, and this is coming up from our Ben Levine superintendent right now, that is pushing really hard on the states to understand the metrics and explain the metrics and how they're used. From my understanding is the Oregon level of proficiency is much higher than a lot of places in the rest of the country. However, we go then to the NAEP score, which is a standardized score you can actually compare country to country. And that's what I think the statisticians will start to geek out on what that looks like. But even if you look at that, it shows that's generally 4th grade and 7th grade. When we take the NAEP test, it still shows Oregon. They know a lot of the other areas. I think you have to go into some values. Are the values of Oregon different than a lot of the other states as far as if the states require a statewide assessment, whereas Oregon doesn't? I think there's just so many variables that go into making those determinations. Yeah. For us individually, I think there's really positive signs on the horizon as far as the work that we do.
If that's more what I was asking. I know what you say about the state, well, I care.
Yeah.
But I care a lot more about here.
Yeah.
What's actually happening here? I'll try and have a bit of an insight view, obviously, but I'm just from bird's eye view. Summary of this would be it's better. Better.
I would agree. I think you'll see the at a glance, the at a glance has got the thickness color charts, arrows going up, arrows going down, we've got some arrows going up that haven't yet in the last couple of years. The interesting thing about education is you sometimes tend to look at it with the lens of something that we understand, which is like a business model. We start a business, we're gonna make a product, and we're gonna sell that product, and we want to increase sales, or we want to, in this case, we might have to increase the amount of product that we make, or we could raise the cost of the product that we should make. A lot of that, what we do is very stationary things that don't, it doesn't move, it doesn't get sick, doesn't get up and relocate, and doesn't come into, it's pretty static, whereas education is not like that, usually living, breathing humans, is a, it's, as you guys, it's difficult, complex. world.
So we're making it sell things.
They don't get it a lot in class, or what I do. They don't skip.
Sure, questions.
I was just gonna point out that I joined Jim at the OSBA Roadshow. And the big topic this time was this accountability bill. There's a lot of concern about unfunded mandate, especially with terms of funding for the next several years. There's a lot of pushback from other boards that were there. This, like, one of the steps down the road, if we continue to not meet the requirements, is directed funding. But where's that coming from? And nobody has an answer to that yet. And then the other piece was it's this interim testing they want students to do as part of keeping track of whether or not we're meeting our goals for this accountability bill. I mean, is it our STAR program going to be accepted as one of those by the state? We're going to have to do another midterm test. So that was another huge concern. And it seemed that the vibe I got from OSBA is they I don't know if they would go on and say they agree, but they acknowledge that those are significant concerns. They're working with the legislature and with ODE to try to figure out a way to maybe amend this, to push it back, to figure out what this funding is going to be. But it was passed in the legislature, so it's gonna take another movement in the legislature to affect the bill.
Yeah, there's one piece of this accountability that we haven't even addressed, and it's, there's insurance for both. But there's the EPAN, what's the end for? EPAN. It's the public accounting. Manual. So we have a number of different codes in which we code our functions and where the money is actually going to, or where it's being spent from, what object. That's expanding by 39.
239,
239.
from a 19-digit number to a 39-digit number. And every section has a meaning, but it's a lot already.
The idea behind it, from a political sense, is it's greater transparency for public. It's, I believe, well, it's my belief, is that it's transparency for when the state gets ready to come in and take over 25% of the budget and tell us how to spend it. So it's more easily obtainable to fund down for the buildings out. Regardless, those are things that are out of our control. And we'll maintain both some of the things that are. But a lot of changes.
Awesome. Anything else?
That's all.
6.1 board event calendar.
Yes.
Do the new one there?
We added November 7th. There's three of us that we gone, Jen and I will be at the OSBA conference, but November 7th, the Education Foundation is going to hold their naming ceremony for the Patrick equivalent of is at 5:30 p.m. Otherwise, no changes for November.
Sounds good. 7.0 other business. Anyone? Sorry. All right, hey, our next meeting is November 17th, 7 p.m. here in the community center. And with that, we are adjourned.